Welcome back to my channel. I am Tamika Thompson and I am the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company. And for this video, I'm going to be giving you some reasons why a job offer can and may be rescinded from you. Now, if you're thinking that just because you have a start date and you signed the job offer and you have your offer letter and you went through all of those interviews and you passed with flying colors, if you think that you are all good and everything is gravy, I have news for you, baby. Until you officially start that job, you are not an employee, and it is very possible for that job offer to be rescinded. And there can be a number of reasons why jobs do this. Some reasons can be your fault, and some reasons can just simply be out of your control. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First on this list is if there were any discrepancies that came back as a result of your background check. Now, this can include if you lied about something. Let's say you told a lie on your resume, and I talked about this in a previous video that I shared to my channel about the consequences of lying on your resume and how it can come back to bite you. This is one consequence that you may face if you lie on your resume. So let's say you put something on your resume that wasn't true. You lied about your job title. You said that you did something that you didn't do. Maybe you said that you grew the department 75%, but it wasn't true. Or maybe you lied about your education. Maybe you said that you had the master's degree and the role required it, but during your background check, it was discovered that you only have a high school diploma. Anything that comes back inconsistent or a flat out lie or sketchy can be grounds for a job to rescind an offer. Piggybacking off of this in terms of discrepancies with background checks is if you have a criminal background but you said that you didn't. So we all know that on majority of job applications they will ask if you've been convicted of a crime or a felony or whatever. If you check no but the answer is really yes and you think that they're not going to find out about it but they do, they are going to retract that job offer if it comes back that you either lied about your criminal background, maybe you said no, but the answer was yes, or maybe you put down yes, but the reason for the crime or the reason for the felony was something different than what came back on the background check. They are going to snatch that job offer back. Okay, y'all cannot be out here lying about anything, not on your resume, not about your criminal background, nothing at all. When these companies do those background checks and anything comes back sketchy or false or inaccurate or untrue, you are going to suffer the consequences. I cannot stress that enough. Next on this list is if a hiring freeze was instituted. And I did record a video giving you all some information and an overview about what a hiring freeze is. Basically, it's when a company freezes or puts a pause on bringing on any new hires, any new roles, any new people for either the foreseeable future or for a set period of time. And this can be a short period of time, a couple of weeks, couple of months, or it can be long term, which can include a year or out, or they may not know when the end to the hiring freeze may be. If a hiring freeze is instituted either as you're going through the hiring process, so maybe you're on the second round interview or the third round interview and a hiring freeze was instituted, the recruiter is going to reach out to you and let you know that there is a hiring freeze and unfortunately they will not be moving forward with filling the position at this time. If you have accepted a job offer and maybe between the time that you accepted the offer and your start date, maybe there's some gap of time in between there. So maybe you got the job 2 weeks ago or you signed the offer letter 2 weeks ago and your start date is not until October 1st or something like that, but our hiring freeze was instituted, let's say today. Fortunately, that means that you are not going to be starting that job and the recruiter or the hiring manager is going to be reaching out to you, letting you know, hey, so-and-so, unfortunately, there was a hiring freeze. We thought that we would be able to bring you on board and that you would be starting on this date, but unfortunately, we're not hiring anyone for the foreseeable future effective immediately, and we will be rescinding this job offer. Now, the job may or may not be reoffered in the future, but there is no guarantee. If it is a short-term hiring freeze, they may circle back with you in a couple of weeks and a couple of months to see if you're still interested in the position, or it may be a little bit further out. If this happens to you, you can always ask the recruiter if there is an end in sight to the hiring freeze, and when it ends, will they be willing to circle back with you, and you can still be able to take the position at the same salary that you were offered, even if you are currently employed at that time. So let's say a hiring freeze was instituted and you accepted a job offer. It was your dream job, you got your dream salary, and a hiring freeze was enforced and you weren't able to start at the company, unfortunately. But let's say 8 months down the road, you took another position. In the meantime, in between time, you kept it moving, got another offer, kept it moving with your job search, and you found something else. You can go ahead and put in your 2 weeks and still accept that job offer that you didn't get before. Number 3 on this list is unacceptable or inappropriate behavior. And we see this happen a lot, especially when it comes to social media. How many times have we seen someone who has fought a flight attendant or denied a person of color entry into their apartment building, being a Karen or a Ken or whatever, and once the story goes viral, the entire world knows their LinkedIn information, where they work, where they went to school, who their associates are, what their business is, etc., and that person loses their job, they get fired, right? If you have a job offer on the table and something wild happens like that, you can absolutely get that job offer rescinded and kiss that opportunity goodbye. Another thing to mention is if you are rude or disrespectful to any employee that works at the company, or any type of disrespectful behavior that gets back to the hiring manager. And I have seen this happen, or I've heard of it happening, where after someone gets a job offer, they'll start treating the executive assistant or the recruiter, or kind of like the lower tier people, really rude and really snappy, and they can say mean things, or just off the wall type of things, and think that there's not going to be any type of consequence. And that is wrong. Anytime you engage in any behavior that is not in alignment with company standards and how they prefer or would like their employees to behave and act and be, you can absolutely have that job offer taken away from you. This can also include not demonstrating competency or professionalism. So let's say you took the job offer, then all of a sudden, as you're finalizing the paperwork, or maybe you and your manager are getting started with a project that you'll be working on when you come on board. Let's say you have a lot of typos in your emails, or you're showing up to some of the pre-work meetings late, or something crazy along those lines where, again, you're demonstrating that you're incompetent and you don't know what you're doing, or that you're unprofessional altogether. Next on this list is if you failed a drug test. And again, I have also seen this happen where some companies will require you to complete a drug test as part of the pre-employment screening. And if you fail that test, meaning something is in your system that maybe you didn't notify the recruiter about, or whoever performed the test about, and something comes back, you can lose your job offer. Oftentimes when they complete drug tests, they are looking for particular substances in your system. And if that comes back positive, or any traces of it is in your system at the time that you take that test, again, they can take that job offer back. Last on this list are company changes that are totally out of your control. So let's say the department that you were going to be joining has now been either downsized, or the entire department has been cut from the company altogether. And more recently, at the time that I'm recording this, it's September of 2023. This is something that we have been seeing a lot of companies do as they restructure and reshift their priorities moving forward, as we kind of bounce back economically from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's been a lot of layoffs as of recently, a lot of departments that have been eliminated, roles that have been eliminated, entire teams that are no longer with the company. And if you were supposed to join that department, or join that team, or come on board and do something in particular, that is no longer needed or no longer at the company. On the flip side though, they may have you interview for a different position. Maybe they are cutting a particular role, or cutting some roles, but maybe they're adding roles in a different department that you may be a good fit for. Now, if this happens, a recruiter is going to let you know. And this did actually happen to me. I remember interviewing for one position about 5-6 years ago. And as I was going through the interview process, the role was cut. It was no longer needed. The budget was no longer available for it, and they decided to allocate that money towards something else. But the recruiter determined that my experience and my background and my skills and from how the interviews went, that I would be a good fit for a different position in another department on another team. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get the job, but I appreciated the recruiter kind of keeping it 100 with me, letting me know that this job is no longer available, but based on our conversations and based on your background, I think that you would too be a really good fit for this, and you still have the opportunity to join a company. So again, there are so many factors at play when it comes to bringing an employee on board. If the company is going through changes, shifts, and just a lot of things in general, you can see your job offer snatched back. So those are some common reasons why a job offer can be rescinded. And keep in mind, like, when you are going through your job search, and again, if you're subscribed to my channel and you watch a lot of my videos, then you know that I say this all the time, and that is line up multiple offers in your job search. When you are going through the job interview process, do not stop interviewing just because you think one interview went really well. I like to tell people, and I actually just told a recent client this as well, even when you get a job offer, still keep interviewing, because you don't know what can happen, especially if there is a large gap in time from when you accept the job to when you actually start the job. And this happened to me as well, where I took a job offer, I think it was like at the end of January, but I didn't start the job until like the second week in March because I had a vacation planned during that time, and I wasn't able to start any sooner because I'd be coming in, taking PTO right away. But even during that time, y'all, I was still interviewing. Like, I remember being on my vacation that I had scheduled, and I was still doing phone interviews because I always knew that, like, hey, this can go left at any time. People get really comfortable and really secure when it comes to jobs, especially interviews and job offers. They think that just because this job interview went really well, that they got it in the bag, and just because they got the job offer, that everything is good. They stop sending out their resumes, they stop applying. Do not do that, because if and when something like that happens where a job offer is retracted, well, then you have to start all over. Your pipeline is probably dry. You have no interviews lined up. You don't want to be in that position, because then you may be starting from scratch all over again. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If so, go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. If you have any questions in relations to other reasons why a job offer can be retracted that I did not cover in this video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you need assistance with your resume, feel free to reach out to me directly. My website is www.thompsonresumes.com. If you want more resume, job search, and career content from me, feel free to connect with me on social media. My LinkedIn profile is Tamika Thompson, and my Instagram handle is @_Mika Thompson. I do have an email list that you can subscribe to by clicking the link in the description box down below. If you are not subscribed to my channel but you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can join my growing YouTube community. And I will see you all next time with another helpful video. Bye!